Hope you will. Hello, welcome. How's it all going out there? Thanks for joining us today. Talk a little bit about concrete treatments and BASETECT. On the line here, I've got Hayden, my colleague. How you going, Hayden? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yes, Henry. Yeah, thanks everybody for jumping on. So yeah, I'm Hayden Prestige, based out of New Zealand, but work across Australia and New Zealand projects. And yeah, came out of construction background and then in this role for 6 years. So yeah, keen to be part of this. It's a hot topic at the moment with basements. So take us away, Henry.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks. Guys, I'm getting a bit of feedback there somewhere. All good now. How about the technical difficulties? Yeah, I've been with Markham for about 9 years now, in the design delivery team here based in the lovely Hawke's Bay, where our head office is. Quite passionate about concrete treatments and that sort of thing, so we will rock into it. A little bit about housekeeping. Obviously, we've introduced ourselves. There is a Q&A button at the bottom of the toolbar there. You can use this anytime, pop questions in. We will have a Q&A session right at the end. It will take about 20 minutes today, but we're just going to do a quick welcome poll. And could you share basically today why you joined? So a couple answers there. We'll wait for click one of those, which one's relevant to you. And we will just wait for those details to come up. Should be coming up in a second. Cool. Okay, so we've got a few structural and civil engineers there, builders, architects, interested in new technologies. Awesome. That's a good cross.
Yeah, good mix. Good to see
people there. Okay, so let's get this going. Yeah, so what we're going to talk about today is our learning outcomes will be about a holistic concrete waterproofing system, end-to-end approach and performance-based warranties, and a few other little benefits there. So Hayden, take us away on some of the challenges we face in the market today.
Yeah, good. To be honest, and let's all be honest, waterproofing is challenging. It's a challenging topic. It's a challenging thing to get right. A lot of times in design, it's a small part of our design, it's a small part of our discussions. But as a project moves on and a project gets into its service life, it's often a big part of its remedial and things like that. So we need to get it right, from the start. So this topic's obviously all about basements, which obviously anything in the ground, we need to think about waterproofing. A few things, it's obviously the cost of waterproofing is big for a start. So we want to put our money into our investments into the right things that are going to give us the best return and best value. It's very labor intensive and very involved, traditional waterproofing type systems. It generally involves quite a few people, quite a few different fingers, different parties, etc. And remedial work's often, hard to track down, and no doubt I noticed a couple on the poll said that they've had issues, and I've seen it myself too. It's really hard to see where water's tracking in from what's actually letting it in. But then there's just the challenge of program timing, what's the right system for my build, these sort of things. So it is a challenging topic, and that's why we're here today, really. So I just want to jump to the next slide. So what we're going to show you here is a system which we call BASE-TECT. So it's about protecting that basement, and it's about protecting the concrete itself. Traditionally you got membranes up underneath the slab and up the walls or around the piles or whatever it is, or on the sheet piling, things like that. Now, that is a challenge on its own. This one here is we work on waterproofing the concrete itself. See, we're putting an admixture into the concrete. We are applying the surface, and then a simple system for, as you can see in that photo, actually, see that blue line there, that's a gasket for any joints. So that was probably like a lift pit or something we're doing there. But So that's the system we want to talk about, and it's all about saving you guys time, cost, but getting a warranty guaranteed result. So the system comes with a 25-year warranty, and it's very easy to put together from a site point of view, easy to design and easy to put together. So let's have a look at where it goes. I just pulled up this project because as you can see that photo at the bottom there, you know, you got all the piles. It's quite a traditional type job. It's actually a little bit unique, this one, because it was kept the house in the middle. Old heritage listed project, so they need to protect that. But see, traditionally you would have had to wrap a membrane all the way around those piles, or spray concrete on to get a blinding layer, and then put membrane on those over that, and then another layer of concrete. So with this project, what we were able to do is get involved with the team and waterproof the shotcrete wall, one straight run. Obviously, deal with your joints with gasket. Then you can do away with that membrane, and then likewise with the slab, instead of having a membrane all the way through the slab and steel over it, things like that, able to waterproof the concrete, make that whole matrix. So that's one of the many, and just brought that up to show you a little bit about what's available with this. So that's the system. Henry, you're going to dive in and show us a little bit about technology.
Yeah, cool. Thanks. Yeah, so what we're talking about here is, I'm just getting some feedback from somebody. That's right. So we're talking about hydrogel technology here. Some of you might have heard about crystalline admixtures. There's other admixtures out there. But today we're talking about the core value of the BASETECT system is hydrogel technology. So it is a part or similar to the calcium silicate hydrate process, which happens when concrete's curing. Basically, the moisture hydrates the cement particle. The cement grows little arms and tentacles out round and grabs the aggregate, and that's how we get our concrete strength, or our grey matter of concrete as such. So hydrogels can be spray applied or mixed into the remix plant, and we're not introducing anything foreign to concrete here that's not already in concrete. So we'll cover it off a bit later, but that's how we can tick Green Star and different things like that. And basically, in all the research we've done over the last 25 years here at Markham, internally and externally with universities around the world, doctors in concrete, engineers, research labs, that sort of thing, the biggest conclusion we've found is that you can prevent the movement of moisture in concrete, you can stop a lot of problems. So this next slide here sort of shows you've got a snapshot or a zoomed up concrete matrix, if you like. And what you can see, the blue line, obviously under a microscope, you're talking a concrete pour is about 50 nanometers. A human hair is about 100,000 nanometers. So you can see that the finer, how fine we're talking here, and the hydrogel can get down to about 10 nanometers. So that's how, when we spray apply the treatments to concrete, to the surface, we can get deep penetration, and therefore filling all those voids and porosities and actually transforming that moisture in the concrete into another state. So moisture can no longer pass in and out of that concrete or come through the concrete to cause problems. So we can stop hydrostatic pressure as well. We've had testing up to about pinpoint pressure, about 50 meters of head pressure in the lab. So, and there's a lot of projects out there still stand the test of time today where we've done BASETECT below water table, and it's with no tank and membrane and that sort of thing. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of overview on how hydrogels work. But is there anything more to add there, Hayden, before we move on to Green Star? You're muted. Right.
I've used online platform for 18 months and I still get caught by mute. Beautiful. What I was thinking, there's a few engineers on the call, so the question's probably going through the mind, how does that affect my concrete? How does that affect my strength? Do I need more steel? These sort of things. So basically we can work with any mix and there's no negative effect on strength of concrete. So I know a lot of admixtures and things will suck out the moisture and, you know, result in cracking and result in your strength dropping, things like that. But across everything we've trialled and proven and tested, and for the last 25 years, there's no negative effect, and that's backed up with the standards, you know, admixture 1884, those sort of things into concrete. So that's really good from a design point of view, because you don't have to beef it up with additional steel to get your structural capabilities.
And it actually works. Would you say it actually works like a reverse effect, doesn't it? So you've got crystalline admixtures there that drag all the moisture around the concrete to feed the crystal and dry out the concrete and cause cracking. With the hydrogel, it forms that gel, but it actually feeds the hydration process of the concrete out. So we're getting better curing and stuff like that as well. Is that?
Yeah, you might have heard us talk about, you know, adding life to concrete or making concrete stronger to last longer. But that's what goes in here. It's that invisible strength of building more that calcium silica hydrate. Yeah, absolutely. So another key part, and this is quite exciting of late, because we've just been recognised. We've just had a suite of our products eco-labelled, and so this means they're recognised by Green Building Council Australia and New Zealand, and they can have credits towards Green Star Build. So the key component of this basement system can work towards your design and getting those credits and helping those Green Star builds as well. So it's quite exciting. It's quite a process to get to that point, and it's been good. So just a quick one there to keep that right. Another project here just to show. So this was interesting. Centre Group, I don't know if anyone's on this call from Centre Group or worked with them before. Developer, but also, you know, manage their own property. So they're involved with this big build in Auckland, in New Zealand, and had a lot of membrane specified all underneath the basement panels, basement slabs there. So there's a few things. It was in the water table. Program was a big important topic, and also there was contaminated soils. So they had a few things we needed to work through, and we got involved with Centre Group and looked at ways of waterproofing the slab. So basically, it was just a 300 millimetre thick slab all the way through the basement. It's about 20,000 squares across 2 buildings, and we're able to come up with a design where we take away the membrane totally and waterproof that whole slab with the BASE-TECT system. Now, that's again one of many projects, but it does show the capabilities. You know, that's right inside the water table. It's protecting against contaminated soils, and it's really speeding up that program time for them. So obviously, for any developer, you know, you want to get return coming on your building as quick as possible. So that was a really key one for them. And then also up through the car park decks, able to waterproof the concrete, and instead of like topical membranes. So it's been a real success, that one.
Did we save quite a bit of cost there too for them? Hayden, did you cover that?
Yeah, the cost. So cost of waterproofing is interesting. There's a cost of the product itself. So, you know, you compare a membrane versus an admixture or that type of system. Then also what they told us later on in the project was we saved them up to 10 days per pour because of, so what was happening is they're pouring through winter and bad months, a lot of wet, and having to have a team come in and do a membrane, you know, there's big delays, you know, those sort of things. So saving that program time right through that whole project was a huge plus for them as well. So yeah, in essence, I think it calculated to around $1 million in waterproofing costs saved. So yeah, it was a huge success.
Sorry, I'll just... Cool. So thanks for you, Hayden, on that project. So now we want to talk a little bit about our NTN service. So effectively, we're involved from installation right through to, design right through to installation. Being the manufacturer of the product also here in our head office, Napier, we've got a lot of control over stock and that sort of thing. But we work with the architects, engineers, early design stage. We talk about their design. Is it a shotcrete pile basement? Is it a precast stitch, or is it in situ pour? What's going to work best? And we take all the homework and the findings we've found in other projects and can give sort of recommendations on, and pull your plans out and draw on them and say, right, we think some gaskets should go here, here, and here. And basically guide you through the design process. We can also help with council. So we've got technical letters we can put with your PS1s to go to council. And then we get to the building stage. We work with the ready mix plant to make sure the admixture's mixed into the right area, into the right concrete. And it turns up, we get that QA information from them. We also QA and install any gasket before we QA and check it off before any concrete's poured. We supply and install the curing of the penetrating spray applied sealers as well. So it's a full system, and we look after that whole thing from start to finish, and therefore can give the warranties and the likes of a 25-year performance warranty to your clients. So we can, by looking after that, there's no hardware, software, or finger pointing if there's an issue. We know exactly it's between us and the client, and we can just give you that extra assurance and reduce the risk that anything's going to happen on your basement there. Anything to add to that, Hayden?
No, I suppose the traditional method of waterproofing, there's been a product supplier, like a membrane tanking or whatever it is, and then a product installer, and then obviously the main contractor. And which is fine if it all goes to plan. Now, if an issue comes up, there's often, the installer saying, no, I did my part well, which is probably valid, and the product supplier saying, no, my product's designed for this, it must have been installed wrong, and then obviously the main contractor's left on the side saying, okay, what's going on here? So being able to offer that product design right through to actual delivery with our own teams on site, it's for you guys. It's to offer that peace of mind. It's to offer that one package, one neck to screw, so to speak, if something goes wrong. So it's all on Markham.
Yeah, that's good. And so that probably leads a little bit more into that around QA, performance-based warranty. So you can see, I'm not sure down the left-hand, right-hand side here, a quick snippet of we can do live QA. So our applicators have apps on their phones, apps on their tablets, and they can basically transfer that information live back to our head office, and we can after each pour, after each application, we can send out a report to say, right, we've done this many square meters from grid line A to B. There's this many cubic meters dosed with the hydrogel technology. It was cured with this. Here's the photos of the QA. So we look after all of that. And then performance-based warranty is something we offer as well. So it's not just here's another part of the product if there's an issue. We will cover it for that 25 years. There's a 2-year maintenance plan in there. But basically, if there's a moisture-related issue in your concrete or in your basement, we'll come back and cover that off. So we're very project-focused. So every project is a little bit different, but in essence, yeah, we're adding a performance-based warranty there for you. Tell us a little bit about compatibilities, Hayden.
No, that's good. That's good. So I've noticed a few questions coming and keep them coming in, and we'll have the Q&A at the end and just cover off everything at once. But yeah, keep them firing. It's good. Now, so a lot of treatments and admixtures and things with concrete, everyone thinks about, okay, what happens next? Can I paint my walls? Can I put line markings down? Can I put adhesives on? These sort of things. Now, that's all very, very important. And if we go right back to what Henry was talking about earlier, we're adding nothing foreign to the concrete. We're creating more of the calcium silicate hydrate. It's all within the concrete. It's a penetrating sealer and a admixture. So there's nothing on the surface. And our warranty is if your product is compatible with concrete, it's compatible with our system. So that means there's just absolutely no hidden costs. There's nothing escalating at the end, not causing the need for grinding, not causing the need for preparation, things like that. So let's have a look a bit about, this always comes up to, okay, what if my concrete cracks? And it's true and valid and the biggest challenge with any concrete structure. So the thing before that is to be proactive with our approach to cracking. What's what's the mix design, what's the pore layout, what's the depth of the pore, what's the steel, you know, what's the, even goes down to whether curing, our product is the curing. So so it's all these type of things go into a design. And I just want to point out, if you can see those images there, see the top surface, say if you protect the surface with anything, all something needs to do is gouge that surface, or a little pinpoint, or scrape on there, and whatever your barrier is ineffective. Now, where the hydrogel system is different is it's right through your concrete. It's right through, and you know, you might get, even if you get a bit of breakaway, if you get a bit of spalling, if you get a bit of gouging, you know, contractor or whatever comes on and gouges out. Even if you get a little bit of cracking, it's very unlikely that you'll get cracking right through or damage right through that will take away that waterproofing effectiveness. So just wanted to show that there. I trust that makes sense. Does that make sense, Henry?
Yeah, that's good. Definitely. Moving on.
Yeah, so another area is carbonation. So obviously basements get a lot of traffic in them, and vehicle fumes is actually carbonation, and it actually breaks down the cycle, breaks down the concrete surface, so it gets into the porosities and starts breaking it down. Now with hydrogel treated concrete, it protects against this. We have an anti-dusting warranty. So it's basically it can't get into the concrete and can't start its cycle, so that protects your surface. Same with like sophites or walls, or, you know, slabs are protected long term. Now, if that was left unprotected, you know, mixed with a bit of moisture, or, you know, water that traffic brings in, is very, very damaging to concrete and start the corrosion cycle. And it's basically like an acid attack. And that image you're seeing now, you've probably all seen something similar on untreated or low-grade concrete over time. So you're really getting a few benefits, not only waterproof, and you get compatibility with lime markings and all that, and then you're getting protection against carbonation, you're getting anti-dusting, those sort of things. So it's really your final finish with the system. So yeah, we've been involved with this a lot, but tell us how we got started, Henry.
Yeah, thanks, Hayden. So I guess just taking a step back from BASETECT, in 1997, there was a project in Christchurch. It was a basement built with a tanking system beside a river, under hydrostatic pressure, obviously. And as things do happen, I'm not sure of the full details, but there was some form of failure in that tanking system. And so straight up, the builder had a dilemma on his hands trying to fix water under hydrostatic pressure getting into this basement. There was about 200 to 300 mils coming in there. They could hardly pump it out fast enough. So we came on board and spray applied. So we retrofitted, if you might say, to the concrete from the inside of the basement. We had to pump that water out. We can spray wet on wet. So as long as there's no puddles there, the penetrating sealer still penetrated up to 150 mil. We self-healed about 1,000 lineal meters of cracking up the 0.5 mil threshold. And there was about 150 to 200 meters, I think, that was above that threshold that we had to inject. But the awesome part was that we waterproofed this basement from the inside. We stopped this hydrostatic pressure, and even to this day, post a lot of earthquakes, and a good 20 odd years later, where there's linings, there's carpets, there's tiles, jib, there's all these things in there that's a fully workable, functioning basement, and we stopped that hydrostatic pressure. So that's what really got us on the track of thinking, well, hang on a minute, why don't we talk to designers, engineers at design stage before the problem happens further down the track, and dot the I's and cross the T's early, and come up with a system by including an admixture, by including gaskets, a project-specific system we came up with it then, and that's where BASETECT basically was born from. And yeah, so have you got anything else to add on that, Hayden?
No, it's good, but it does show, you know, it's not only if you have got, and we get involved with this quite a bit, retro-treated systems, you know, if there's some seepage through a wall or something, obviously joints and everything's slightly different, but there's ways of doing it. And yeah, exactly what you said, that taught us to, hang on, why don't we offer it right from the start? So that's good. So we will jump to questions now. And
there's a couple of questions in the chat there. That can the product be purchased only? Well, with the BASETECT system, by offering, it's a hard one because basically, no, it can't be. Because we're adding these warranties, we're keeping control of the QA, we're doing the install, all that side of things. If we just put the product out there for Joe Blogs to go and put it in, we've got no control over it, and we can't give those long-term warranties. So we like to keep control of the BASETECT system, and that way we can make sure that your project gets the right system for the right job, for the right climate, for the right condition, whereabouts. And there's another one there. Does the hydrogel delay curing time? Do you want to get onto that one?
Yeah, sure. So just on that product, I mean, there's products we can provide. Yes, thanks for that follow-up question. That helps explain it. So yeah, there is products we can provide for, some remedial works, that sort of thing. So happy to look at options there. And then what's this one? Does the hydrogel delay curing time? Good question. So curing is all about moisture retention, holding that moisture in to feed the cement to strengthen it and grow those extra fingers we talk about, but grow the cement particles and hold on to the aggregates. And we don't delay that curing time. We hold the moisture in the concrete a lot more. So we extend the actual curing process. It doesn't slow down the set time as such. So, you can get it on your slab nice and quick, half a day you're back on your slab, and all the curing and the hydrogel's working within the concrete, and that you can truck on and carry on your program. So hopefully that helps on that one. A few other questions in our...
A couple other ones there. Does it need to be reapplied regularly? So, no, it doesn't. It's in there for the lifetime of the concrete. So it can't be worn or abraded off. Effectively, the hydrogel inside your concrete turns into more of your grey matter or your matrix of your concrete. So it's a one-time treatment. You don't have to reapply it every few years. So as long as your structure's sound, will protect your concrete from that time.
Yeah, that's good. And will the hydrogel affect the strength of the concrete? There's no negative effect at all. So there's no need for additional steelwork, those type of things. As long as you take a standard max 40 MPa or whatever you're working with, and there'll be no negative effect on strength. We actually often see strength gains. We just don't claim that because there's so many variables in concrete and areas, different aggregates and things. But all the way through our history, there's absolutely no negative effect on strength. So trust that helps there.
It probably leads into the next question as well. What is the effect on concrete hardness and curing time? So basically, good curing of concrete gives you more harder, durable concrete from day one. So effectively, the hydrogel, by hydrating the hydration process during curing, we're giving more harder concrete, that sort of thing. There's another one there about costs jumped up just then, Hayden.
That's good. What's the average cost across a project, say, per cubic meter? Yeah, it's, I guess, from a lot of projects we've worked on, and we've compared them to what they might have been doing with waterproofing, etc. There's the product cost itself, and then there's the programming site advantages, if you know what I mean. So there's a lot of costs that are not just documented costs, so to speak. But I mean, we're talking within, obviously it depends on your rough slab and things, but we're talking somewhere between $50 a square meter, as a bit of a guide of a full waterproof system. And if that helps, cubic meter is part of it, that's your admixture, but then yes, the joints and your spray treatment, which need to go on top of there. So generally we're around I mean, we've had a lot of feedback that we're around half the cost of a membrane type system. So if that helps.
Also, there's a question there from Jason. We will have a recording, Jason, if you missed the start, but we'll send you a link after this. But apologies if I missed the start. Does it result in a thickening of the base and walls, and by how much? No, it doesn't. So we don't actually get involved in what the structural engineer designs. We just have a positive effect on his design. So as we've covered off, we don't have to put more steel into the concrete. We don't have to get that much involved. So whatever the design is, we're just a plus on top of that.
It's not crazy. I mean, as long as it's not 30 mils in front of the piles sort of thing. So I guess what do I say? If we can go 100 mils would be sort of minimum, to provide enough protection. But we don't say a design was 200 millimeter thick wall or a 200 millimeter thick slab. Obviously we'd look at hydrostatic pressure, we'd look at the geotech reports and things, but we don't need to beef that up to get the result. Does that help, Jason?
Question there. Is the product and application available across the regions in Australia? Yeah, so we do have representations across most of the states in Aussie. So we are a project based company, focused company. We would look at every project, but yes, we do have resources across Australia.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've got one of our biggest ones in New South Wales at the moment will be Parramatta Club, Parramatta RSL. That's a big basement that's happening at the moment with a meso formwork wall, 3-level basement, and then doing a lot into Victoria at the moment with shotcrete and pile basements. Perth, we've got a team on the ground. So we've got a team on the ground in Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, and Perth. But and then we go into the regions from there as well. So absolutely. There's another one popped up. No problem, Alex. We'll send the recording out too, so you can see the start. It can be applied to existing walls. Now we obviously have to visual them to make sure it's going to be effective. Is the concrete a decent quality for a start? Is it something we can work with? Now, concrete block walls are too porous and too many joints to work this system. But where you've got shotcrete or formed wall, absolutely, where you may have some seepage, we've done plenty of that.
Awesome. That looks like there's a wrap on the questions there. So I'd just like to put a big thanks for joining us, everyone, today. Appreciate your time, taking a bit of time and learning a bit more about BASETECT. We will send out an email after this with some contact details, but feel free to reach out if you've got any projects or give us a bell. Happy to chat and discuss anything you've got. I know someone put in the chat earlier about a smaller retrofit project. So just reach out and we'll be able to point you in the right direction. So thanks very much, everyone. And we'll see you around.
Great. And we'll fire out an email just asking for some feedback. Keen on feedback all the time. So if we're presenting terribly, let us know. And we'll keen to make some tweaks for the next one. But just keep in touch. Stay safe out there.
See ya.